Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hi, this is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really pleased to introduce you to today's guest, Valerie Priester. Valerie is a certified business and life coach, motivational speaker, and author. Listen to this. She has written books such as Awaken to a Happy New You, Finding Your Why, and this is my favorite, From Here to Gratitude, or actually From Here to Gratefulness, a 28-day journey to joy. Don't you think that in the world today that we need to understand how to be grateful and take that journey to joy? I really like the title of that book. Valerie also provides business and personal development coaching to awaken the inner spirit and confidence of, hear this, new coaches who desire to be heart-centered coaches. She helps new coaches build a solid foundation so they can create successful and profitable, the word is profitable, coaching businesses that they love. Welcome, Valerie.
Thank you so much, Tammy, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm really excited to have you on the show because I have not met you in person, but I have watched some of your videos, and I was very fascinated with your mission to help new coaches. So why do you help new coaches?
Oh, my goodness. When I first became a coach, one of the things that really kept me going around and around and around in circles is I didn't know who I was going to coach. I didn't know what I was really going to coach on. When you go through certification and training, you're trained to be a phenomenal coach. And I am a phenomenal coach, let me just say myself, right? But you're not trained on how to really build your business and how to get clients, how to attract clients, and who your client is. And so I'm so passionate about helping women. That's my main target audience is women, although I do work with men, but helping them to really get clear on who is it that you want to coach? Who do you have a heart to coach? Because I really believe that we're called, if you will, to a certain people, and I help them really get clear on that, because without that, it's like they don't know which direction to go in. So my passion is to keep them from going around those same circles that I went around, oh my God, probably for the first 3 years of being in business.
Well, that is one thing that many people don't understand is when you do a certification program, such as life coaching or whatever the program may be, they really do. They focus on being that person, but the marketing part is something that is left out. It's just like doctors. They know how to be a doctor, but they don't know how to get new patients. And you see that in almost all professions, financial advisors, just you can almost name any profession. So what are some of the problems that you solve for the new coaches? Maybe if you can give me, a few things that you help these new coaches solve.
Okay, absolutely. Understanding, like I said, who their target client is, who their ideal client is. And then more importantly than that, why? Their why. Why do you want to be a coach, right? There are so many coaches in the universe today, and there's so many people popping up saying, hey, I want to be a coach, I want to be a coach, I want to be a coach. Well, what's your why? Why do you want to be a coach? Right? What I've found is that most people that are truly coaches at heart, they have this desire to help people. And so I help you really get clear on why do you want to do this? And then I help them with a step-by-step plan to not only identify who they're going to serve, but how to set up a business that they're going to love in the end. Because here's what happens a lot of times. We get into a business because we love doing whatever that is. So we love coaching, right? I can coach all day, every day, and I hate to say, but without pay, I can do that because I love it. but the problem becomes we get into the business and we're so focused on the piece that we love that we forget about all of the pieces that are necessary to build a sustainable, profitable, successful business. And so we end up really creating a glorified job. And so I help new coaches avoid that, because when you create just another glorified job, then it becomes a drudgery and you don't really love what you're doing. And I really help them avoid that, because there's so many pitfalls, that I went through and that I had to encounter on my journey, that now I know, how to help them eliminate that and not go through the same process. So with my step-by-step system, it helps them to really set a foundation for a business that they love, and not one that they're just like, oh, God, I got to do this again today.
Well, yeah, because a job, the reason, and I think it's really important, and you said it up front, you said you have to know who your ideal client is. Many people, they go, oh, everybody. Well, no, it's not everybody. It is a specific, even a one. It's a person. And then you have little duplicates of that one person.
Absolutely.
But what I found is the whole reason why we want to get out of a job is because more than likely we've been burned out of it, and we don't feel loved, we don't feel appreciated, and we know inside of us there's something that is much bigger than us. So we say, okay, we have this vision of helping people. Yeah. And then you said it again, the why. You wrote a book on it. Finding your why. The finding your why has to be probably one of the most important things that you do. So I also think you said another big thing, and it's related to the making of the money. Often, and you said it, you said, I love it so much, I would do it for free. And often, guess what happens? You love it so much, you're doing it for free. So can you address that issue? Because I know right now that's what the listeners are saying. Talk about how do I make money being a coach.
Yeah, absolutely. And that does happen, especially, sometimes you hate to say it's different for men than it is for women, but it really is. And so especially when we're working with women, and that's why women is I'm so passionate about women, because we have another layer of stuff that we have to get through and we have to overcome and we have to eliminate to get to the place where we actually start, number one, charging what we're worth. That's a big one, right? Women tend to feel like, well, I want to help so much that I really don't think I should charge, or I really don't think I should charge this much, or, and we tend to like lessen our fees, right? Because we want to fulfill that need to nurture and help. I mean, that's generally our makeup. Let's face it, women are nurturers. And so when we go into business, we carry that into our business and we start thinking with that nurturing mindset of, I just want to help people. Well, yeah, but you got into business to actually make money. And so what happens is we get caught up in the helping piece so much that we forget that we are in business to make money. And so our fees are typically lower. We feel like, well, I can't really charge that much for this. We don't value our worth. We don't value what we bring to the table to help someone change their lives totally. Right? I mean, that is so valuable, but we don't value it. We think that, it's just no big deal, because a lot of times it's just our makeup and who we are, right? So we feel like it's no big deal, so I shouldn't charge that much for it. So a lot of new coaches get stuck in that place where you're doing a lot of pro bono work, right? You feel like, well, I can't charge. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I get it, because I've done a lot of pro bono.
Yes, and behind that too, Tammy, is that we feel like, well, I'm new, I'm just starting out, nobody really knows what I can do, so let me just coach a whole lot of people for free and, get the testimonials, and then they'll, say how great I am, and then I'll have that as proof and validation. Well, let me just tell you this. Let me just be real honest with you. That really doesn't work. It really doesn't work, because what I found when I first started out in coaching, and I worked with 5 women for free in the beginning. Now, I was fortunate enough that the first 5 women that I worked with for free, they actually did the work. Mm-hmm. But once I moved beyond those 5 women, and I was still stuck in that mindset of, I shouldn't charge for this, or I shouldn't charge too much for this, the clients that didn't invest in themselves, or the ones that I didn't charge my full fee because I was dealing with my own money issues, they didn't do the work. So if they don't do the work, then it's really not helping you in any way to show that you actually know what you're doing with your coaching expertise. Because the bottom line is this: I can be the best coach on the planet, but if the client doesn't have buy-in, which is skin in the game, which is money, and willing to do the work, it doesn't matter how great a coach I am, because they still won't walk away with their lives being changed or have an impactful experience with you. They'll walk away with their lives being exactly the same. So we have to, really come away from the money hang-ups. I call it money mindset hang-up. And that's something that I help new coaches deal with, because we're always dealing with, the paradigms that we've been left with from a child. We've heard things like money doesn't grow on trees, and money is the root of all evil, and all of that craziness keeps us from really charging what we're worth. And so I help my clients get through all of that, uproot that mess, get it out, and start charging what you're worth.
I think that is really, like you said, the limiting beliefs, the things that we were told from the time we were very, very young, what we witnessed, either in our own families or even in our communities, or just, just different things, especially those of us who had parents who grew up in the Depression. We really heard all of that stuff. And then, of course, younger people, maybe they were just given everything and they never had to work for anything, so they don't really understand any of those concepts either. But I think you're absolutely right. And one of the things that I've seen a lot, and believe me, when you brought up the thing about not charging what you're worth, and this is a real example that happened to me, and it just proves your point so well. Earlier this summer, I had a friend who needed some money, and they asked me to help them. So we put together an 8-week coaching program for internet marketers who wanted to get more clients. And the idea was that we would work with them for 8 weeks and help them get 10 clients if they did the work. So that it included accountability calls, it included live training, and here's the big mistake. This should have been sold for probably, I would say, about a minimum of $1,000 or more. We charged $97. Okay, for 8 weeks. Now divide that by 2. Remember, there were 2 of us. And so we started out, and we had, the people, they were coming to their calls. Probably by about week 2, half of the people quit showing up for the accountability calls. The few people who did the entire program did have success. But the lesson to me was it demotivated me, and it made me feel bad about myself because number one, I didn't make any money because there wasn't enough really to divide in 2. So the other person needed the money more. So I said, you just keep that money. I'll still help you. But I really did. It made me feel bad about myself, and it made me feel like people didn't value me. So that was a huge lesson about not charging enough. And to tell you the truth, the things we were teaching were exactly how to find your ideal client, how to charge what different things, all of these things. And here, we were an example of an act of desperation because, like I said, I was trying to help this other person literally pay their rent. And we did, the goal was met. But the lesson, I think, for me personally was so valuable, and you said it. And there's another thing I wanted to ask you about, and you, in our little pre-interview, you said that that you chased shiny objects.
Oh my
Many people chase after these little cheap, it's like whatever glitters is not gold. Tell me more about how that affects a new coach, and what it is that they could do. What is it that is making them, they spent the time, they spent the money, they spent, got their certification that they thought they needed in order to become this coach, but now they're like, they're, I guess, stuck. And talk a little bit about the shiny object syndrome as it applies to a new coach.
Absolutely. I went through that same thing. When you're, again, first, coming out of your certification, because you're not really taught how to, build a business around this. So really what you're taught, like you said, you're taught a skill. So just like a doctor, you're taught a skill, but you're not taught how to build a business around it. So you come out and you're reaching for everything because you want to know, how do I serve people? Because remember, there's that deep burning desire that won't let you sleep. That's how it was for me, right? Every night it was like, oh, I got to serve people. I got to serve people. But you don't know how. And so you start reaching for everything. You start following other coaches. And I followed, like, oh, my God, so many coaches. I had, so many emails coming in. They say that typically, on average, we have anywhere from 150 to 200 emails coming in our inbox every day. Every day. And a lot of that was because I'm following everybody. I'm looking at what they're doing. And I made the big mistake of, okay, I'm going to follow the big wigs, the gurus, and see what they're doing. And then you try to go and duplicate that. But you don't understand that there's a whole system behind that. You're just seeing the front piece. And so you spend all this time trying to duplicate it, and you spend all the time looking for the free stuff. What do they have for free? Let me get the free stuff, or the low-cost stuff. Right?
You're describing
let me get all that. Oh, I'm telling you.
I am the queen of freebies.
That is
but I've also paid thousands of dollars.
Yes. And that's the flip side, right? So we go through this cycle of, let me get everything I can for free or for very low cost. And here's what happens. You get all of this information, and your computer is loaded with information, but you never implement. Some of the stuff you never even read because you don't have time, because you're stuck in that mode of let me get more. And so you get into that information overload, and you got all this stuff. Let me tell you what happened to me. I actually bought a program twice because I didn't know I already had it. I mean, is that not crazy? And thank goodness it was a very low-cost program, but I bought it twice. And it's like, oh, my God, and that's, when some of the light bulbs start going on, is that why are you constantly chasing after the freebies and after the low-cost stuff? Because that stuff, it can only help you so far. And so it wasn't until I, made a decision that, no, I need to invest in not only myself, but my business. And when I hired my first business coach, that's when I learned so much about, how to stop chasing these shiny objects, because they're not doing you any good. They're not serving you because you're not implementing anything. You're just gathering information.
Yeah.
And so when I hired my first business coach, the very first assignment I had was to unsubscribe to so many email lists. And that that just, oh my God, that just relieved me so much. I felt like, a burden was off my shoulders. Because, you're on all of these email lists and you're getting all of these emails, so you kind of feel obligated to read them. So you do kind of read through them, but here's what happens. Because they're a part of the sales funnel, So you keep reading through these emails, and then the next thing you know, whoop, there's another product. There's another shiny object. Oh, I need that. And so you go and you purchase that. Now you've added something else that you're still not implementing. So I learned that lesson from hiring my first business coach, and guess what? I do the same thing to my clients. The very first thing I tell them is get off of everybody's email list. Stop it right now, because when you're working with a coach, you cannot afford to, be on everybody else's email list and getting this little tidbit from this coach and that little tidbit from another coach, because all it does is distort your learning, and you're really not making any progress. You're still just as confused. Right. And so the other side of that, like you said, is that we spend a ton of money, on the next greatest program, because believe me, it'll start at the free level and the low cost, but it will eventually graduate to the hundreds of dollars and then the thousands of dollars. And before you know it, you've spent, $20,000, $30,000 on bits and pieces, but you're not implementing anything. Yeah. And I've been down that road.
And what I discovered, and I'll tell you how serious my problem was, what shiny object syndrome, I call it the hummingbird syndrome, flip from thing to thing. And what I discovered was that focus was such a big priority for me that I actually named my cat Focus, so that whenever I called the cat, I was constantly reminding myself,
oh, that's good.
Focus, focus, focus. Yeah. And then I have another cat, and I call her Clarity, the money cat. She's a calico, but I call out, Clarity, Clarity. So,
oh my goodness!
So I actually, because my cats hang out with me, yeah, and they're around me. So, and that really helped me, because seriously, lack of focus was my really big issue, and I really had to, do something. So in desperation, who names their cat,
right,
Focus.
Right, that's a good idea.
It did help me, because it's a constant reminder, because obviously with a pet, you do call them by their name and talk to them aloud and everything. But I think that you're so correct that get off all the email lists, and I know some of them are just so tempting. I have emails, I don't even know who those people are, because I opted in for something because I wanted something at that moment in time, and then I don't even know the people, because if I consumed it, I didn't connect it to the person's name on the email. It was whatever that moment in time. So you're absolutely right. Get off of the email list to get started, and you will have, like you said, that feeling of almost a relief that your information overload will go down immediately, so that you can focus on your topic at hand. And you've also said something else. You said you got a business coach to help you. So you basically had to fill in the blanks about what your weaknesses were. And for many of us who are in the heart-centered professions, that is one of our weaknesses, is that maybe we don't know business. One of the things that I knew early on, because I was a little, I can't say early, but I was a late bloomer. When I went to college in my 30s, I got a creative writing degree with a business degree. Simultaneously, because I'd heard the thing about starving artists. So it was like, I want to be creative, but I also know I need to know how to run a business. And so I merged those. So I think that's really important. So when you work with people, do you work with them in a group setting, a one-to-one? How are you working with new coaches?
That's another very important piece, too, when you are a new coach, is deciding what's the business model that you're going to have, right? A lot of coaching trainings teach you to come out and do one-on-one coaching. Well, it's okay to start, But what I teach my clients is don't stay there long, right? Because what I found out very quickly is that one-on-one coaching will drain you. It will really, really burn you out. And you can't impact as many people. So I remember when I was first starting, and I sat down and I talked to my husband and I have a CPA, and I talked to the CPA, and I was like, I'm going to start this coaching business, and here's my income goal. This is what I want to make, and, I'm going to coach people, coach women, like that. And he says, okay, it's just going to be you coaching? And I said, yeah, just, one-woman show, I'm going to coach. He says, you're never going to make this income. Not with just you coaching like women one-on-one. And it didn't, I didn't think about that because there's only so many hours in a day. There's only so much time that you can give to coach people. And if you're doing one-on-one, it will take you forever to make the kind of money that you want to make.
And you just made yourself a job.
You made yourself a glorified job, and you're burnt out, right? And here's what happens when you spend a lot of time doing one-on-one, too. As much as we try to detach and keep, our clients, I don't like to say issues, but their challenges, separate and help coach them through them, when you're doing one-on-one and that's all you're doing, eventually those challenges begin to weigh on you, and that's what causes you to get burnt out. So I switched my coaching model from a mixture of group coaching and one-on-one. Now, most of my programs are group coaching. The other reason I did that is because I can impact the lives of more people in a shorter period of time. And so wanting to have, to serve as many people as I can serve, that burning desire to serve, that helps me to be able to accomplish that and not burn myself out. And then I still have the one-on-one, but that is like my premium service, right? Because some people want one-on-one attention. Some people do better with one-on-one attention. So I still have that available, but that is my premium service. Because if you're going to take, if I'm going to take my time to really work with you one-on-one, again, that gets back to making sure that you're charging what you're worth. So that's a premium service for me.
I think you're absolutely right, because of all the things that we have, what do we have? Time. And there's 24 hours in a day, 60 minutes to an hour, and you're absolutely right. I mean, one-on-one coaching, it is very rewarding because you can really do a lot with that person, but at the same time, it boils down to an hourly rate. And anytime you put yourself at an hourly rate, you are shortchanging yourself because you're not leveraging that power. And like you said, in group coaching, I think actually sometimes is better because there's almost a little bit of competition and more accountability because you're working with like-minded people. And anytime you have a group, it is more like a mastermind, no matter if it's coaching or whatever it is, but you do get that synergy of having
you took the word.
people's energy and people who are for you. That positive energy is so powerful. So that's really phenomenal. So do you have a website, or where can people find out more about you?
I do. They can go to victoriouslifecoaching.com and find out all about my products, my services there. I also have a Facebook group, Victorious Living, because I wanted a place where people could, really open up and be free and have that positive synergy. You took that word. I love that word. That's like one of my favorite words, right? So anytime we put a group of people together, you're absolutely right. It creates synergy. And so I have a Facebook group titled Victorious Living on Facebook. And as I said, they can reach me on my website, victoriouslifecoaching.com. And I'm on all social media as Valerie Priester. So you can find me there and connect with me.
And just to ask you, your books are available at your website?
They are. If you go to the website and go to my products page, all of my books are there. I also have a 6-part audio training program there titled Overcoming Procrastination, because, that's another thing that keeps us stuck. So that's there. So all of my products are there. And then there's also my services tab where you can find out about my coaching program as well. So everything is there on my website.
So I guess I'm going to have to get a new cat, so I'll have focus, clarity, and action.
I love it. Take action. I love it because nothing happens until we take action, right? I love it. Yeah.
Well, Valerie, I really appreciate the time you took with me today, and I really love all of the information that you shared today about becoming a coach and how to leverage that time so that you just don't have a job. Because I know for a fact that when people decide that they want to become a coach, their idea is not to have a job. Their idea is to create a business that is sustainable so that they can have more freedom in their life. So I really appreciate all the time you took today.
I thank you so much. I appreciate you inviting me and giving me a platform to be able to really talk about what means the most to me is really serving people and helping them overcome, all of the barriers and being stuck. So thank you for inviting me.
This is Tammy Pantzer. Go make it a great day.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.